Alright, Z Nation, back to another installment of book summaries with How to Win Friends and Influence People. Part 3, Chapter 1. I should even introduce this one. Part 3 is How to Win People to Your Way of Thinking. Chapter 1 being You Can't Win an Argument. Goes into the principle of there's no positive value to get out of arguing with another person. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. If you argue and rankle and contradict, you may achieve a victory sometimes, but it will be an empty victory because you will never get your opponent's good will. Absolutely, full-heartedly agree with that. Buddha said, hatred is never ended by hatred but by love. Understanding is never ended by an argument but by tact, diplomacy, consolation, and sympathetic desire to see the other person's viewpoint. It's key. One momento. Psych, not one momento. But I had to wait there for a second. Not hospice, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Welcome to the disagreement. Remember the slogan. When two partners always agree, one of them is not necessary. If there is some point you haven't thought about, be thankful. If it is brought to your attention, perhaps the disagreement is your opportunity to be corrected before you make a serious mistake. Distrust your first instinctive impression. Our first natural reaction in a disagreeable situation is to be defensive. Be careful. Keep calm and watch out for your first reaction. It may be you at your worst, not your best. Control your temper. Remember, you can measure the size of a person by what makes him or her angry. Listen first. Give your opponents a chance to talk. Let them finish. Do not resist, defend, or debate. This only raises barriers. Try to build bridges of understanding. Don't build higher barriers of misunderstanding. Look for areas of agreement. When you have heard your opponents out, dwell first on the points and areas on which you agree. Alright, to continue on with what I was going with, be honest. Look for areas where you can admit error and say so. Apologize for your mistakes. It will disarm your opponents and reduce defensiveness. All about admitting when you go wrong. Promise to think over the opponent's ideas and study them carefully and mean it. Your opponents may be right. It is a lot easier at this stage to agree to think about their points than to move rapidly ahead and find yourself in a position where the opponents can say, "We tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen." Again, I continually say this, but a lot of this book interweaves throughout it what is already introduced throughout the book, being a good listener, being genuine, allowing other people to talk, don't argue, and such. Being able to put yourself in that person's perspective. Thank your opponents sincerely for their interest. Anyone who takes the time to disagree with you is interested in the same things you are. Think of them as people who really want to help you and may turn your opponents into friends. Postpone action to give both sides time to think through the problem. Suggest that a new meeting be held later that day or the next day when all the facts may be brought to bear. In preparation for this meeting, ask yourself some hard questions. I outlined here the process of it all, so these would be questions you could ask yourself. If you ever find yourself in a dilemma, being a different way to think about something, a different aspect, or just fully being called out on your way of thinking. Could my opponent be right? Partly right. Is there truth or merit in the position or argument? Is my reaction one that will relieve the problem, or will it just relieve any frustration? Will my reaction drive my opponents further away or draw them closer to me? Will my reaction elevate the estimation good people have of me? Will I win or lose? What price will I have to pay if I win? If I'm upset, if I am quiet about it, will the disagreement blow over? Is the difficult situation an opportunity for me? Opera tenor Jan Pius, after he was married nearly 50 years, once said, "My wife and I made a pact a long time ago, and we've kept it no matter how angry we've grown with each other. When one yells, the other should listen. Because when two people yell, there is no communication, just noise and bad vibrations." I think about this all the time with what that was just said. I relate that back to a lot of news shows or any type of shows, talk shows, that have two parties communicating and yelling back and forth. What does that get done? It doesn't get done anything. All it does is provide some form of a limited entertainment value, which does not lead to any productivity, which doesn't lead to advancement, which doesn't lead to evolution. So at the end of the day, pointless. Principle 1 for this chapter. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Chapter 1, Part 3, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the books. Check in with you later.